Well, good afternoon and welcome to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. If you are joining us for the first time, this is a weekly call-in town hall and radio show, and the number here is 804-454-1366. That's 804-454-1366, and I'm State Senator Amanda Chase. I'm your weekly host, and I represent most of Chesterfield, all of Colonial Heights, and all of Amelia. And I actually have an office, which is not in D.C., thankfully. It is in Richmond, and of course, our state capital in downtown Richmond. And I'm currently on a break between regular session, which meets annually from January until about March, and now I'm preparing for a special session and reconvene. And we'll be addressing the state budget on Wednesday, April the 11th. And I'm here today to answer your questions and hopefully keep you informed about what you need to know as it pertains usually to state issues. I'm going to deviate from that a little bit today because I have a very special guest in the studio today, Shion Fenty, who is actually going to be running for the Republican nomination for the 4th Congressional District. And just to tell you a little background here, Congressman Randy Forbes used to be the congressman for the 4th Congressional District, and I actually worked for him for a while. And after they did all this redistricting, we ended up with a more Democratic-leaning district, and we ended up with Donald McKeachin, who I've also served with in the state Senate. So if you live in the 4th Congressional District, you will have the opportunity to vote at your regular voting precinct on Tuesday, June the 12th, this summer. That's right. There will be an election in the summer, and people are going to forget that. I hope you're putting that on all your signs, June the 12th, in a Republican primary. Now, how do you know if you live in the 4th Congressional District? Let's just talk about the district a little bit. It has changed since we had this redistricting case that took place. It now includes Richmond, Petersburg, Hopewell, Charles City, Dinwiddie, Wakefield, and Emporia. It goes all the way to the North Carolina line. And as I mentioned earlier, Congressman Donald McKeachin, this is his congressional district. Well, it's the People's District. He just happens to be sitting there temporarily, let's hope. So, a little history here. It used to be a solid Republican district seat. And then Virginia's 3rd and 4th congressional districts were redrawn following a ruling that the state's previous map was unconstitutional. Once again, another reason to make sure we get judges that are conservative. A lot of people like to tell me that our judges are not leaning in one direction or the other politically, and I don't believe that. So the court ruled that the legislature illegally packed black voters into the 3rd district in order to strengthen the Republican Party's hold on the surrounding district. And now, as a result of the ruling, Virginia's congressional map was redrawn. And I was actually there during that whole process when it was redrawn, and we had to go before the state legislature and the House. Anyway, won't go down that road. But anyway, using the redrawn map, Virginia's 4th congressional district flipped from being a safely Republican district held by Congressman Randy Forbes to becoming, unfortunately, a predominantly Democratic one. However, the redrawn map was appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court by many of Virginia's Republican representatives, and on March 21st, in fact, almost 2 years ago, March 21st, 2016, the Supreme Court heard arguments in Virginia's redistricting case. Well, you know the rest of the story. The court rejected the Republican challenge to the lower courts and was ruled on May the 23rd, 2016, and as a result, the redrawn map was used in the 2016 election. So, the 4th Congressional District of Virginia held an election for the U.S. House of Representatives, and that was on November the 8th, 2016. You may remember this. Democratic Donald McKeachin, who at that particular time served in the state Senate, defeated Mike Wade, who was the Republican nominee in the general election in November the 8th of 2016. So what we have here is a super big cluster. This is a challenge. I mean, I'm pretty ticked about this, to be honest with you, that the courts could take what had predominantly been, Congressman Randy Forbes had been in that seat since 2000. And I remember working for him, and he was an expert on China. He was a chairman of the Prayer Caucus, a solid, just a solid Christian man who had integrity and values and morals. And he was a leader, and he was knowledgeable, and he was a brilliant attorney. And I had so much respect for him. I've worked for 3 congressmen, and all who I've loved all of them. Randy was a class act. He was a class act. And I really want to get this 4th congressional streak. Now, whenever they change those lines, I'm actually now in the 7th congressional district, and now Congressman Dave Bratt is my congressman. But I've always been mourning over the loss of the 4th congressional district and losing Randy Forbes, who ended up running, I think it was in the 2nd district, because he realized the numbers were against him. In fact, just looking over 2017 gubernatorial numbers, Ralph Northam won 61% of the vote, Ed Gillespie 37%, and Cliff Hyra 1% of the vote. But I believe in miracles. And I believe if you get the right person in there, because I think people on both the left and the right are really tired of politicians. I mean, they are tired of the Democratic Party. They're tired of the Republican Party, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of people, if they were really honest, would say they identify as an independent because they're so frustrated with the parties and the things that we do. And I had to yell at a few of them, but we won't talk about that today. And so this district is one of 108 congressional districts that intersects with one or more what are called pivot counties. And these 206 pivot counties voted for Donald Trump in 2016 after voting for Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012. Now, despite the challenge, and it will be a challenge, it will be an uphill battle, but there are 3 Republicans who are vying for the opportunity to take on Congressman McEachin. Now, I happen to know Shion Fenty very well. In fact, we've probably known each other for about 12 years. We met, we've been going to the same church for probably 17 years. And this was back when our church was small. It was like 150 people. And now we have thousands of people on 3 different campuses. In fact, you're at one campus and I'm at the other. And Shion Fenty is actually a praise and worship leader at our church. And she's just a fantastic singer. And she just radiates joy. She has an amazing personality. And she just makes anyone who's around her she lights up the room. She's just fantastic. I just love her. And I remember one year, I had been volunteering and working for some different candidates, and I wanted to get some candidates that had biblical world values, and I would volunteer for like 18 months. I just volunteered on all these different campaigns while I was homeschooling my kids, and I would take them to these events. And I was actually offered a real job. For a congressman, and I was asked to come on as his political director. And I remember coming to church one morning, and I was so burdened because I really felt like God was calling me to help this person to run for reelection for Congress. But I felt like, what about my kids? Because I have 4 young kids at home that are used to having me around, and we had homeschooled for about 8 years. And so I just went to church that morning, and I was so burdened, and I just prayed about it. And Shion came up to me that day, and she was like, I really want to come and help you with your kids. I don't know what's going on, but I just really want to come and help you. And I mean, I think I broke out in tears, which doesn't happen very often, but I did that day. And I was like, actually, I don't normally ask for help, but yeah. I really do need help with my kids because, I've been offered this position, which I feel like God has called me to do. And you stepped in and you helped out. And y'all know I have 4 kids. At that point, my kids were really little. And you saved the day. And now, and I mean, I could not have done what I did without Shion being there. And so I know Shion very well. I mean, she practically lived in my house. While I work for this congressman, and I was working 80, 90 hours a week, and so were you at my house. Oh, gosh. You could probably blackmail me. No, but anyway. So when I say I know Shion Fenty, I know her character. I know her heart for people. She loves kids. And she is a strong, confident woman who really, in my opinion, hears from the Lord. I mean, she's a great person. So Shion, here we are in 2018. She is seeking the Republican nomination for the U.S. House of Representatives, and blowing my mind, which I'm just so excited. The primary election is going to take place on June the 12th. She is a fashion designer, and she owns, it's called Fenty by Fenty. Did I get that right? By Shion Fenty. I need to let you do the talking here. So whenever we come back from the break, you're going to get to hear about her background, why I feel like she's going to do a great job, and you can call in and ask your questions. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase and Shion Fenty. Good afternoon and welcome to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is our weekly call-in town hall and radio show. I'm State Senator Amanda Chase, your weekly host, and I'm here in the studio with Shion Fenty, who is seeking the Republican nomination for the 4th Congressional District to eventually challenge Congressman Donald McEachin. And so let's begin by telling us what you do now, Shion, and how has that prepared you to run for public office?
No one is an inconvenience. They're all opportunities that you get to face and begin to engage with other people. And so, as we began to grow, and we all decided we wanted to be a little more entrepreneurial, we began to start our own businesses, try small things, and learn a lot. So in my entire 38 years of living, 37 years of living, it's been an amazing opportunity to meet people, talk to them, love them, and not see color, not see skin, not see socioeconomic, not see all these things that we're using to divide us, but everyone has something to offer. So it's been an amazing journey being in the fashion industry and working in a lot of small businesses and having so many different experiences that I feel like, for me, I'm not afraid of anyone. I don't care who you are, where you come from. I'm not afraid of you. To me, I see that you're a person. God created you. I want to know you. I want to know everything about you. I want to do life with you. I want to walk with you. But to me, I always say people are my most favorite subject. And I love, love, love just getting to know people and where they come from and their story.
Now, I know you've always dreamed of having your own line as a fashion designer.
Yes.
And I know that whenever I was running for office, you also were so kind to come to my house and go through my closet and go, you are not wearing those jeans. No, you are not wearing sweats. No, that is not going to work. And so Shion, bless her heart, would come to my house on Sundays and help me make sure that I didn't look like a complete moron the rest of the week. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
There is a gift for people that understand fashion and design. And trust me, we need you, because otherwise we will end up being talked about our Hillary Clinton white pantsuits. And I don't want to be that person. Thank God for you. So as an owner, of a fashion design company, you and I both have had businesses over the years, and it's so hard. And a lot of times you have to continue to work your full-time job until you can get enough equity behind you. There's so much overhead that's involved. Like if you were to get a storefront.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, tremendous expense. And a lot of people initially work out of their home. Tell us about the challenges of getting a small business up and running, and what are the biggest challenges you faced along the way?
Yeah. So getting a business started is actually one of the easiest things. You just go get registered, you get a piece of paper, you pay your little taxes, like, woohoo, yeah, you're in business. Then the real work begins. Then you've got to figure out funding. You've got to figure out your product line. You've got to figure out your niche. You got to figure out who your target market is and how to reach them. How do they respond to you? Are they social media people? Are they through the mail? Are they just on the phone? You have to figure out so many things. So in the fashion business I feel is like a many-legged octopus. You've got so many avenues in order to create a product line and sell to those people, but it's super, super, super competitive as in any other business. So starting the business is really easy, but getting it off the ground is where the challenge was. So for me, it was funding and mentorship. And when I realized that, I can get money to create products or to create a line there, now how do I do this? Where do I go? Who's going to teach me? And in the fashion field, it is quite competitive unless you know someone who's willing to train you. A lot of people keep their secrets to themselves because it really is very, very, very challenging to make it big. They say, quote unquote, to make it big in that industry. So finding people that would help, that would move forward, that would do something was really challenging. So I just turned to the best teacher called YouTube.
Thank God for you too.
So I've just become very self-taught in a lot of ways. My mother taught me the technical aspects of creating a garment. And then, of course, I learned a lot of business stuff from YouTube and then going to school for small business ownership. And so to me, the biggest thing when it comes to any small business is that financial part, and it's the mentorship part. Even if you have all the money in the world, you will waste that money if no one is walking you through how to be successful and how to do so many things. And a lot of people today, everyone has this desire. I just want to work for myself. I want to own my life. I want to do this. They want to be very independent, but being independent means that you're your boss. Your customers are your boss. The system is your boss. If anything happens in the economy, that is also your boss. So not only are you just creating a product to sell, you have to be very intelligent in what's happening in the world around you.
I think probably one of the most challenging things is you have to wear so many hats.
Absolutely.
You have to do your taxes.
Yep.
You have to do all your paperwork.
Yep.
If they're government regulations,
yes,
then you have to comply with those. Yes. Your marketing, your social media.
Yes.
We have two businesses right now.
Yes.
And with the financial services business. And I don't touch either one of them right now. Because, oh my gracious, between the radio show and the Senate gig, wow. But, it's challenging. And my husband and the boys run the lawn cutting service. And, it's always in your house.
Yes, absolutely. You don't walk away from it. There is no such thing as I'm taking a break.
We've always got trucks, or they bought this big trailer. It just always. Yeah. I know my neighbors love me. They're probably tuning in right now. You're like, yeah, we know where you live.
And then also when it comes to hiring, it's like when you finally make some sort of money and you're like, yes, I can get someone to help me. That's a whole nother ball game there altogether. So like you said, you've got earned income, you got all these different taxes, a list of taxes that goes along with your employees. And then not only the taxes that come along with them that eats into your profits, but also finding a good employee that's going to be loyal, that understands your business. There's so much time that goes into finding that right person that is costing you business production as well too. But it's kind of a catch-22. Without that person, you can't grow. But then you're spending all this time away from your business to find something else. So it's craziness. So I have a deep compassion for small business owners across this nation because they are the ones that our country is built on. They are the engine to this country. So to me, I'm like, if they're the ones that are running things, we've got to do more to help them. We've got to do that. They employ people that sometimes can be unemployable. They're the ones that have so many creative ideas that's creating this entire process that people are able to say, hey, wait a minute, that's interesting. Let's do that. They're able to be so much more flexible than bigger businesses. So for me, I will always champion small businesses, always.
Isn't it annoying, just to be honest, isn't it annoying to go to some type of government agency, like a licensing agency, the state corporation commission or whatever, and you are trying to get a license of some type, and they're comfortable because they're getting paid a salary and you're not. And they're taking their time, and you're like, time is money, y'all. I know some of my friends who are builders and developers and time is money. And that's one of the things we talk about is the importance of making sure that we're not slowing entrepreneurs down, making sure that whenever they interact with their government, that we're not in the way, we're not hindering small business.
Absolutely.
Now, you actually grew up predominantly here in Chesterfield County.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot of family in Chesterfield County because I know growing up, I've had, when I was a youth leader, I wasn't a youth leader, what was it called? There was a program that we had at church. I can't think of what it's like, Cubbies or something like that. And I think one of your younger sisters was in my class. I can't even remember. It was so long ago what that class was called. But you have always been in Chesterfield and, helping, from what I've always seen, helping with young people. That's kind of been your heart and your passion. And boy, we're already getting ready to go to a break here. Because when we come back, we're going to talk about what motivated you to run for office.
Yes.
Are you crazy?
Maybe a little.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase and Shion Fenty, who is the Republican. She's running for the Republican nomination for the 4th Congressional District. And so let's just cut to the chase. After you saw all the craziness I had to go through in running for state senate, what in the world were you thinking?
I feel like I had blinders on when you were running. All I was just like, let me just take care of these kids and help her to have some sort of peace of mind so she can do whatever she has to do, because I'm not doing any of that. I never really paid attention because I had no aspirations for politics at all. So I was like, you have fun, Amanda. Good job, girl.
And don't wear those sweats, by the way, or those blue jeans. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So what hit? I mean, what was that pivotal moment when you said, all right, I'm running for office?
Yeah. So last year, our church did a foster care kids camp called Royal Family Camp. And when I got to the camp there, I'm just beginning to, sign up and go through the training and see what else we can do to help out these kids. And when we got off the bus, the kids got off the bus, it was so interesting to see just their eyes. I've never seen such dead eyes in my life. Like there was no light. There was nothing in these kids that were just like, this. It's like they had nothing to look forward to. And so as the week went on, like you can see that light begin to come up in them again. They were beginning to say, I want to be this and I want to be that. And so a couple of days into the camp, I was like hearing a little girl telling another little girl like what had happened to her abuse and all these things. And she didn't know like I was standing there. So she was just talking very freely. And I was just like, how in the world can any child go through this and still want to live and still want to be a part of the world? And so going through that camp, even beforehand, we had about 2 or 3 months of training on these kids' brains and how it works when kids from hard places go through trauma. Little things that we think is normal, like don't yell, don't run, whatever, to them, they have no gauge of what's normal. So learning just how they think, how they respond. So when we were at the camp, we were really, really effective not to trigger kids into any bad behaviors or making them afraid of things. So when we got back from the camp, I was laying in my bed and I was like, Lord, that was really great. That was fun, but something has to be done. I'm not going to do a camp every year and walk away and act like this is not a problem right here in my own backyard. So I started thinking of, well, maybe I can volunteer at schools or get on the school board or do some aftercare programs or whatever. And I began to pursue all those avenues and looking them up. But like, it seemed like doors were just shutting in my face, like over and over again, like it's not the time. So I was like, you know what? I was like, God, you know how I am. When I'm focused on something, I'm going to get it done. So show me a way. And so 2 weeks later, I was at a birthday party with my boyfriend, and he and all of his friends are very political. They're all the YRs and everything. And I'm just sitting and they're having all these conversations about people and districts. And I'm just like, that's great, whatever. And so there's like a break in their conversation. And I was telling them about the camps and what was going on and what I want to do with these kids in the city and all these different things. And one of the girls looked at me and she said, well, why don't you just run for Congress? I was like, run for who? For what? Why would I do that? I was like, why would I do that? And she said, well, here's why. It took me about 2.5 months to decide to do this, because I just firmly believe it just always seemed to me that politicians really did what it took to protect themselves, that they just kind of pandered to the people so they can get voted. But when they went to Washington, they didn't really care about what was happening in the districts that actually sent them there. So to me, that was my mindset of what politics was, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Because I was like, I'm more powerful here doing this, but let me just stay here. And so for the entire 2.5 months, I began to research what is a congressperson? What do they do? Why are they even there? What
Some
are they
people
supposed
don't
to
know.
be? See, and they're supposed to
I don't think they know sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
And they're there.
It's craziness. You're supposed to represent the district, understand the needs of the people, take it to Washington, and also represent Washington to your district as well, too.
Right.
And so it was a really great process, learning laws, learning the purpose of this position, learning what I could possibly do, but more importantly, also learning the parameters of that position. Federal does not infringe on state issues. And as I was looking through everything, I'm a person, I'm going to go everywhere. I don't care. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this done. But also understanding and respecting the fact that states have their powers, federal has their powers, and in order for anything to get done, we've got to do something that we've never done before. How about federal and state actually work together and
That's
work
right.
together with the local officials as well too. Because to me, I just don't see how you can go to Washington and say, "This is I'm a congressman. This is what I'm doing," but I'm sorry, but that's your family that's back in the district. Those are the people that voted for you. So you have to work with the people that's there in charge to make sure that the district is safe, it's healthy, it's prosperous for the people that are there. So again, it took me 2.5 months to make that decision. And when I finally made it, I was like, you know what? This is going to be awesome. And it literally, I just sat back and I was like, you know what? This is going to be awesome. This is going to be an amazing opportunity for a real person that doesn't have the typical lawyer background, that's very connected to the community, connected to the people. I've lived the lives that people have lived and started from an immigrant, my immigrant family, starting from nothing and then growing to where we are now today. And so I said, if anyone can represent this district, I know that I can do it. If anyone knows the people in this district, I know that I know them. So let's just do this. We've got a lot of work to do.
Now, let's go back to what you were talking about, immigration and coming as a first-generation American.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on those people who are here in our country and they're not here legally?
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on that?
Yeah, so that is the most convoluted situation ever. So I always look at that situation from both sides, from the family side and then from the legal side of everything as well too. So I think it's crazy that these kids are here illegally. They're here. They were brought here. There is nothing that they could have done to stop it. Their parents brought them here, so they're growing up here, and they're just thinking this is their home. This is what's going on here. But on the legal side of it, they're not Americans. They're not citizens. And so, I guess as we come back from break, we can talk about this some more, right?
You're exactly right. You're catching on really quick.
That would be great. I love it.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase and Shion Fenty.
Woo.
Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is State Senator Amanda Chase and Shion Fenty, who is running for the Republican nomination for the 4th Congressional District. That is a mouthful. And right before the break, we were talking about immigration because I know everybody wants to know where you stand as a congresswoman.
Yeah, definitely.
On immigration.
Yeah, so like we were saying before, it's a convoluted, whole entire big fat mess. And my opinion is this. So with my family, some of my family members still trying to go apply for their citizenship because they're permanent residents here. The entire system just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's very complicated. It's very expensive. It's time consuming. And it just doesn't, it just should be way more efficient. It shouldn't take someone like 10, 15, 20 years to be able to become a citizen. And then once you do go through the process and you get your lawyers and everything, and if your lawyer just isn't on top of their game, it can cause you a lot of harm. Mm. So it is just an amazing process that really has to be streamlined. That's something that our campaign is already working on right now, to have a more streamlined process so that everyone is identified, that everyone goes through the process properly, and that we get to become citizens properly and going through the system. And so my views on immigration is that the whole thing just needs to be revamped. Straight up needs to be revamped, because people shouldn't be in this situation where where they're illegal and they don't know if they're coming or going, and then we're not making any decisions. And to me, it starts from the very top. When our laws are not enforced, it creates this kind of confusion all over the board, and it's just simply not right. It's not right.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. Now, I know that there are the dreamers who are still here, and there is talk. You know, they were born here.
They weren't born here. They were brought here, because if they were born here, then they'd be citizens. So they were brought here when they were younger.
Very good. So would you send them back, or would you wait for this process to work out that you're talking about implementing? What would we do with them now? I mean, there's some folks that would say call ICE. You know, they're not here legally. They're tapping our resources. Yeah. You know, what would you say to that?
Yeah. So I'm very pragmatic in a lot of ways. And to me, I feel you need to cut off the source, period. And everything will literally work itself out. We cannot say that we're the party of the rule of law, but yet these illegal immigrants that are here, they have jobs. How is that happening? We're employing these people that are illegal, but yet we want to send them home? That doesn't make any sense. When the companies that have hired illegal people, they need to be fined for that. And all of that money they're being fined for, and it stops going to the illegal immigrants, aliens, or whatever. When they don't have a job, what are they going to do?
Go back home.
They're going to go back home. And so you can't say send them home, they're illegal, when you are doing illegal activities yourself by hiring these people. And yes, there is a drain on our economy. There is a drain with all the benefits that they're getting. But to me, it's quite interesting. So now that they are done watering your yards, nannying your kids, cleaning your houses, and now you said they're a drain on this side, then you want to send them back? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. If we're going to be the party of the rule of law, we have to have justice on both sides. If you're hiring someone that is illegal, you are also a criminal right now. You are also doing things that are wrong. Don't point a finger if you're going to do something wrong yourself. And I'm telling you, once we begin to enforce our laws, these things will work itself out. And eventually, if they want to go back home, they're going to go back home on their own dime. We will not have to spend money to be able to do that. So we got to look at things both ways.
Boom. That was good. Wow. So that is and I think it's good to have that perspective. Now, I know that you said that your parents were from Guyana, formerly the British Guyana in South America.
Yes.
And you moved here when you were 8?
No, my parents moved here and I was born here 2 months later. So I was born in Brooklyn, New York, 2 months after they moved here. And then we moved from Brooklyn, New York to Virginia when I was 8 years old.
I knew 8 years old was in there somewhere.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand firsthand what
Absolutely.
what a lot of folks are going through and have a different perspective. Now, you voted for President Trump.
I did.
And a lot of people were shocked and surprised. Do you think he's doing a good job? And if so, what is he doing right?
Sweet. Policy-wise, I think he's doing a great job. I think he's doing a great job where that's concerned. The tax cuts and my goodness, I think that's been such an amazing plan for families where they're able to have double earned income credit for their kids on their taxes. Small businesses are now able to grow because there's more money coming to people's pockets. People are looking at their paychecks and it's being increased. That is an amazing and a wonderful thing. Hence, that's the reason why I voted for him. Because I was like, I know this man knows business. He's going to put more money into people's pockets. That way, entrepreneurs can begin to grow their business and people that actually want to start businesses can begin to do it now. You cannot be prosperous if you're not in the environment for prosperity. And we have not been a prosperous environment for the last 8 years. And so now that things are growing, people they're able to actually live the lives they want to live. Small businesses are now more confident to hire people, which is amazing. And look at where we are right now, where anyone that wants a job can get a job now. And I think that's just the most amazing thing.
I think it's amazing, too, that they are also companies are actually doling out bonuses for the first time.
Which is amazing. And like the minimum wage has been raised in a lot of areas.
Right.
And all the bonuses that are coming out, like that's amazing. You can't tell me that that's wrong. That's amazing.
And what? It didn't require the government to come in and raise the minimum wage? Wait, what is this?
Exactly.
Doesn't require a law to do everything, folks. I think y'all know that. I know our listeners know that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could give President Trump advice, what advice would you give him?
Please stop tweeting. And
you don't like his tweets.
And be careful of the things you say.
I actually like his tweets because you actually know what he's thinking and it's not twisted by the media.
Definitely. But I think there is something to be said that I would advise him just to be careful of the things he says and how he says it, because people are not paying attention to the good that he's doing because they're so upset by the things that he's saying. And I'm sorry, to me personally, I don't want to offend people to the point that they're not even paying attention to what good I'm doing. To me, that's ineffective. And that would just be my recommendation for it. And I'm glad that he stands on what it is that he believes. And he's free to say whatever he wants to say. We're in America. But to me, it's like he's doing so many great things that no one can see because they're so focused on being offended.
So don't be distracting.
Don't be distracting. No. Let people pay attention to everything that you're doing, not what you're saying. And, yeah, come on.
Yeah. Kind of like sweats and blue jeans,
oh,
right?
Lord, come on.
That would be distracting. That would be distracting right there. So, I didn't realize this about it. Did you know that we both graduated from Monacan High School? Did you know that?
I did not. No, go Chiefs.
Yeah, that's right.
Chiefs.
You were class of 1999. I was class of...
Oh, but you can share mine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little older than you are. We won't talk about that. That's amazing. We're both alumni. And now, I love what you say when you said that you began working at McDonald's at Route 60 in Woolridge when you were just 14 years old to help support the family.
Oh, yeah.
That's
We
amazing.
started early. That's why when divorce hits a family, people just have no idea. They have no idea. That financial burden, the emotional burden, it falls on everyone. And the way my mom raised us, the older kids always took care of the younger. And so mentorship was very, very big in our family. So in order for our family just to be a good, well-oiled machine, we all had to work. My older brother worked with me, and then I worked as well too. I'm not gonna lie, I was so excited. And got our little workers permit from high school. I'm like, yeah, we can make some money. Let's do it. And so, the more that we began to work, I realized. And I always jokingly say my kids are going to work at McDonald's. They can do whatever they want. I don't care. But it's just like it built such a really good work ethic in me that you
Absolutely.
work super long on really hard hours just for very little pay. You respect the money that you get. You respected your time. And so it taught me a lot. And this is what I'm wishing that America at large would understand. There are so many people who live that way every day.
That's right.
That they can't get this typical salary job, but they work at a McDonald's. They work at a fast food restaurant, and they're supporting their family off of that. I'm sorry, but that's the majority of America that no one is talking about, that no one is understanding. People that are working super hard every day to make ends meet. Like I did that at 14 because I was excited to have a job, but little did I realize that I worked 40 hours a week.
At 14?
At 14. Well,
And
of course,
go to
and of course,
school?
I'm gonna be fair. They started us off at 25 because we were underage. The minute we hit 16, they were like, boom, 40 hours, let's go.
Oh my gracious.
And doing school, and doing social stuff in the community, hang out with my friends and everything. And is realizing that everything that I'm realizing was all in retrospect. In the moment, it's just what you did. We worked, we paid bills, we got school supplies for my sisters and my kids and my sisters. Not my kids, my mom's kids, whatever. And you just took care of your family. It's just what you did. To me, it wasn't like, oh, I'm taking on this big thing. It was just as you go through life is what you do. And so it was a really, really good experience. Just working hard for like little or no pay, but just taking care of the family because it's what we had to do. And so, but when it comes to divorce, we have to realize like so many families are splitting up, and we're not understanding the financial burden that they're going through, and which is when came in being on public assistance because like my mom, like of course as kids we didn't know what was going on. I always felt like we were rich. My mom had our house so super beautiful. Of course she could sew, so we always dressed well and we always had enough and everything. But only years later did I realize that we were on public assistance and stuff. And so once we realized that, we were like, you know what? It's time to really start making a difference here.
Awesome. Stay
Yeah.
tuned. We'll be right back with Cut to the Chase and Shion Fenty. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Lately, I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things we.
Welcome back to the final segment of Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase and Shion Fenty here in the studio today. We've had so much fun. I've had so much fun.
Yes, it's awesome. Thanks.
But yeah, so if people want to find out more information about where you stand on issues policy related, where can they go to find out more information about you and your campaign?
Yeah, so go to fentyforcongress.com and on social media at Fenty for Congress. Everything is at Fenty for Congress. You can find our platform there. You can donate there. You can volunteer there. And then now that we're on the ballot, whoop, 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 whoop. I'm so excited about that. It was a hard road to toe, but it was good. So definitely volunteer because this is a brand new area. People have got to understand in the 4th District, things are different. Things are just simply different. We cannot do things the same way that we did before. We just simply don't have the votes. We're not Republican district anymore. We're now Democratic. So how do we win in an area that's tight? We've got to begin to reach out to people, meet them where they are, talk about issues that matter to them, and see where it is that we can come together. Now is not the time to focus on differences. Now is the time to focus on what do we have in common and how do we get there. And I'm really, really proud of our team. As we go out, we were getting the signatures, we were talking to people. Everyone was just like, you know what? I like you. This is awesome. I have a lot of Democrats that are on my team, a lot of independents, a lot of liberal women as well, too, that are helping out because they like what I stand for and they like who I am. I'm not about a position. I'm about the people. And that's what it's time for everyone to be about. So those of you that are in the 4th District, I implore you and I want to inspire you. Now is the time to open your heart. Now is the time to bring people in. Now is the time to change things because we must win this year. We must.
Boy, that's great. That is awesome. That is a great way to end the show today. And I want to thank you guys again for joining us today on Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase on WNTW The Answer. And I hope you will join us again next Friday for our weekly town hall from 6 to 7 p.m. as I answer your questions, get your input, and address issues that are important to you, and even have the opportunity to meet these candidates who are running for office in our area. If you would like notices of upcoming events, we have town halls every week, weekly newsletters. You can also visit my website at chaseforsenate.com. And during session, I actually send out a weekly update every Friday. And out of session, we send out one monthly, just to highlight key events. We still have things going on out of session, believe it or not. But I especially want to thank WNTW for allowing me to provide this free public service to you all, because if it weren't for them, we would not be having this town hall. So I really want to thank Asher and the folks here at WNTW 820 AM and 97.7 FM for allowing us to be here each week. And, if you have a constituent issue or a concern, you can contact my office. And we look forward to seeing many of you. We've had so much going on. And we have Easter coming up on Sunday.
Yes.
I'm really excited about that.
Yes.
And I hope everyone that's tuning in has a happy Easter and enjoy time with your family. Are you going to get to see a lot of your family?
I am. So it's funny. So my mom is now visiting my sister who's getting ready to have a baby. So she's away, and she also campaigns with me. So I miss her so much. And then my other sisters, they're actually coming in. So my sisters will be there, my brothers will be there. So it'll be like a whole sibling Easter, which will be wonderful.
Wonderful. All right. How much time do we have left? 30 seconds and counting. You want to give a final? I'll let you have the final 20 seconds here. How do you want to end us up today?
Yeah, well, thank you guys for listening. It is such an amazing opportunity, and I'm honored to be here at this audience. And guys, like I just got to say one more time, America right now is in a place that if we don't pray and if we're not active in our communities, we're going to lose the very essence of who we are and what this country was founded on. I am not a believer in separating people, saying you're this, you're that, so then you're this, and I don't like that. That is not what God has called us to do, and that's not who we are. Now is the time to pray. Now is the time to come together, and let's get active in our communities. Be about the business of the Lord right now.
Amen. Thank you.
There are many, many questions, but the answer is AM 820, WNTW Chester.